Good afternoon to all. On behalf of Auroville Foundation, I am happy to welcome all the Aurovillians. And also I would like to thank the members of Aurovillians because very short notice we have arranged this meeting. So today the agenda is first the recent developments with the various working groups. They are going to present first working committee, then followed by ATDC, then FAMC, SIRE, and Bharat Nivas, and Visa Matters, and finally followed by Matru Mandir Lake team. So this is the schedule of today's meeting. Due to some emergency, our secretary madam is not yet here, but end of the meeting definitely she will be joining, and whatever the doubts you have, we are ready to clear it. So thank you. Now I will call the working committee to give a presentation.
Okay, thank you all for coming. So we have just chosen one topic, which is ROR, and this is an AI generated video. And between the link, I will explain you at the end. So the last time when the ROR was updated in 2005, after that for a very long period of time, we had something called as master lists, which was actually not very accurate. We didn't know we were living in Auroville or left Auroville. The data was very, very vague. That is why in 2022, there was a survey which took place, and there was a team with foundation working groups which went house by house to collect the data. And even though some refused, later they came forward and most of them started filling. And since in between after that, when it was supposed to be released, there was a court case, it had to be on hold. But now since things have been opened, the ROR is going to get updated. So all those who have filled the ROR, it doesn't mean that you've entered the ROR. It's just a confirmation that you've filled the ROR. So this assurance is there. Since between this period of time, some have left Auroville, some have no updates, there's going to be a small re-verification again. And very soon, about in a few weeks' time, you'll be getting the update of the ROR. And all those who've been waiting for a very long time, because the working committee faced a lot of issues for all these Aurovillians due to the court case, who've been waiting for a long time. Their maintenance, children maintenance, a lot of things are on hold. So now everything will be processed accordingly, and hope we'll see a lot of things coming forward. So just to reconfirm, all those who have filled the ROR is just a confirmation you've filled the ROR. But there'll be another verification since some left and some are not in Auroville. So this is just an imagination of myself. So just take it very light. It's just how our generation is building something for the future generation to welcome more people for Auroville. And all that we're building today is not just for ourselves, but it's for the future generation. Thank you. So next, ATDC.
As ATDC to the community was somewhere in April. So we are in August, so I would just like not to run through the same presentation again, but just give a snippet of the progress which has been made in the meanwhile to the best I can within 5 minutes, which has been given to me. Next slide, please. So we have divided the presentation into 3 parts. One is we'll give the presentation on the planning exercise which we have undertaken. The next block will be project development, the main ones at least. And the last block will be the ongoing projects which are on site right now, and I will touch upon the important details of that. Next slide, please. So this is a snippet into what we are developing now. It's the sector plans. Last meeting, those of you who are present would have seen a detailed presentation on zonal development plans. So we have the Auroville Master Plan, which I take the opportunity now to announce to all that the ministry has extended our implementation timeline officially to 2035, because our original master plan says the implementation timeline ended in 2025. Now we have to be very clear about what these dates mean. They don't mean that the master plan has a date of validity. It means that the timeline that we are giving ourselves is this many years. So originally we had said it would take us 25 years to manifest Auroville, but we are now in this stage of Auroville, where we have recommitted to finishing it within 10 years. So 2035 is the extension that we have got. So this is very good news. In line with that, last year already, we undertook at the planning group in ATDC the zonal development plans work for each zone. So over the years, a lot of studies have been done, a lot of plans have been drawn, different people have come in and undertaken detailed studies, and Roger himself has given a very detailed description of the Galaxy plan, what he calls, what we call Master Plan 1971. So taking from there, we compiled the details of each zone of Auroville, ranging from what those zones will have, how many people will live there. For example, in the industrial zone, how many people will be employed there, how many Aurovillians, how many non-Aurovillians, and what those developments will look like, and those kind of things. And also, to a certain extent, we went into infrastructure planning. But the zonal development plans are yet a zoomed out look on the Auroville plan. So this is the next layer. There are sector level plans. And in sector level plans, we are touching the detailed description of each sector. So where will the green networks go? Where will the intra-sector access roads go? For example, if you go in Sector 1 right now and you try to drive through Sector 1, it's still very raw. There is no, the developments are there, but the access roads are unfinished. The access roads have no definition. So what was the original intent of these sectors? How were they supposed to be shaped? How will the galaxy get its shape? And how do we take into account what is already existing? Some developments which have been built with the thought and idea behind, guided by the master plan, guided by the galaxy plan, and some developments just we don't know how they happen. For example, Sofio is a very, very low density development where should have been a very medium density development. So we don't know how these mistakes happened, but now we are also correcting them in the sector plans, indicating which areas of which sector will be re-densified. At the same time, we're also taking up detailed infrastructure planning along with AVS. We have a team put together. The electrical infrastructure planning is the key here. You will see now all over Auroville, some transformers are standing here and there. We don't want this to be the future, that as development comes, we wake up and we put a transformer where we feel like. So now we have taken up the electrical detail planning. We have, if you go to the next slide, please, you will see that in Auroville, there are 4, you can see those very tiny red dots, 4 load center substations. So this took us quite a while to arrive at the location and the site extent and the design of these load center substations, which will be fed from the main substation located elsewhere. So I'm going into a bit specifics to just give an indication of the level of details we're working with. This is only electricity. There's also water, there's also wastewater, and so on. So at the sector level planning, which we are hoping to complete by 2025, we hope to have all the details in place. So when someone comes and wants to build something, we are not thinking, where do we put them? We know for sure if there's a place for that project or not, and where is that place and what are the parameters of that project. And going forward, we also don't want to have any developments which need to be redeveloped later. We want developments which remain a permanent part of the Auroville Galaxy manifestation effort that we are all part of. Next, please. Like I said, this is one location now proposed by us, by Water Service, for the wastewater treatment plant, centralized for the residential zone, which will be built in a modular fashion. And this is close to certitude and gratitude, if you can read those texts. So we are finalizing this. We will be announcing it next week. And all the planning of all the pipes and layouts will be based on these finalized locations for the future. Next. Similarly, solid waste management. Right now, our solid waste management unit, Eco-Service, is doing a wonderful job, but out of industrial zone. It's not where they're supposed to be. The master plan says there is a place for the solid waste management in the green belt of Auroville. So taking into account their needs for road access, their needs for proximity to Auroville, but still the fact that they need to be located far enough away from the residential zone, we have identified this land parcel to be the best. The shape may not be exactly like this, but this is the location close to the existing road service, Saya transport service, and Evergreen to the south. So it's a nicely dense green pocket where also there will be an incinerator located somewhere in the denser green part of the pocket given to eco-service, which will take care of the waste which can't be processed otherwise. But otherwise, we have a super system in place already of waste segregation and processing waste as much as possible without going into incineration. So this is the phase 2 and phase complete of eco-service, which will take care of the needs of 50,000 people. Next, please. So those are just the highlights of the planning. In the next meeting, if we have more time, we can go into specifics, but touching on project development now. We have been very busy designing 3 residential zone projects, which I also touched upon in quite some detail last time. One was New Birth in Sector 1, which will give the shape of Sector 1, where Sector 1 again is where Surrender, Arati, these communities are located, where they're just fenced off little communities which don't interact with each other. The New Birth project, which is the next slide, will be at the heart of Sector 1, and it will open up fences. It will open up our, current lifestyle of fenced pockets of non-interconnected communities. It will create a yellow network, which is what we call for a shaded walkway for residents to be able to walk from the crown all the way to the outer ring road through shaded networks of buildings, much like what Sunship provides us in the ground floor, an empty space to walk through shaded with some interesting things happening. And also there is the green network, which I touched before in the sector plans, which will be the cycle network for people to take shortcuts through the sectors. And this is the line of progress, the first line of force, which we are designing now quite in some detail. We have put this picture up just as a teaser. We are working on the DPR right now because this is the first project for which we are going for what we explained last time, the HEFA loan. If we are able to avail the HEFA loan for Auroville, it will be incredible because it's a subsidized loan and we are an educational institution, strictly speaking. We have been classified as an educational institution. So we should be able to avail this loan even though we are non-academic in our nature. So we are trying to convince the best we can, the authorities, that we deserve this, and if this comes, then we have a subsidized loan to start building this project and invite 380 roughly more residents, adults and young ones. So this project is still in the DPR stage. So now we're in the detailed design stage. We're doing estimates. We're working on all the details. Next. So this is the New Birth project of which I spoke about earlier in Sector 1, which will pierce Sector 1 in a good way. And so New Birth will be low-rise, low-density urban settlement, a mixture of studios and families. Now, we already discussed the details last time, so I don't want to go into this, but what I do want to tell is that we don't want to wait for some funding to open up somewhere to start this project, because this project is easy to build in phases, and we have enough people already in a poll that we took in 2022. Enough people have expressed that they have some amount to contribute towards the project. So now with all the reshuffling that was happening with FAMC and the new housing policy and our whole redefinition of what stewardship is, somewhere along the line we got a bit stuck with the idea that individuals shouldn't contribute to housing like we were doing in the past, because that leads to the mentality of ownership. But this actually, it has become two negatives, and that doesn't make a positive somehow. So we are still without any housing. So these people who are ready to donate, we want to do it Sunship style. We want to collect this into a donation pool, and we want to invite donors of the world to come and contribute more so that the project can happen, and it can happen in a phased manner so there is no issue. So more details of this we hope to put up on Oronet, so stay tuned. Next. This is just a glimpse of one of the projects approved by the governing board in its last meeting. The minutes are yet to come, but Auroville Security Service needs a revamping. Auroville Security Service, not only the building, the security service itself needs our help to strengthen itself. We have internal and external security issues which we should be addressing. We need an enforcement department. We are not able to take decisions that we can carry through because we have people blocking it on the ground. I'm speaking freely. So all that needs to be addressed by a department that can hold it together, that can come with us and that can make it happen, make the decisions go all the way through. So this is actually just next to the security service, which is already there in the Southern Service Node, and it is a concept. Next. You can go on. So ongoing projects, there's nothing much new ongoing since the last time we spoke about it, but I can give you another kind of update. The Crown, the Darkali Bridge is complete by the end of August is what CPWD tells us. So we are very hopeful, we're pushing them, we're working with them. That will make the Crown connect, even if not very circularly, it will make the Crown connect. And we are working very hard. Michael Bonke is working hard with us as a team to make sure that the lands that we don't have, we will have them soon. And all the other hindrances have already been removed. So that's on the Crown. And next slide will show the radials. The radials, again, you have radial 01 on the left. Radial 1 was built first. It's in the cultural zone between the industrial zone, between the Revelation, between the Mahakali Park and the cultural zone. I put that picture there as a story to tell about what difficulty we had to manifest this tiny little radial of 600 meters, lot of obstruction on the ground, and we have kind of worked through it slowly but steadily. And right now it looks like a road that goes to nowhere, but as soon as the outer ring roads are there, on both sides, all the mobility that will connect will tell the true picture, will tell the whole story. So right now the story is just unfolding. So we are all looking at the story unfolding in different stages, but soon the story is to be told in full. And this is the radial 6, the center field radial. Like that, for every radial, if I do a presentation, I can take an hour of the hindrances, of the issues, of all that we are facing on the ground every day. So some of you are writing to us saying, why is this radial not yet complete? Why is that connection not yet done? We are facing traffic issues, accidents are happening. We fully understand, but it's taking the time it's taking because we are designed like that, and it's taking the time it's taking. And we are working very hard to resolve the hindrances so that these radials can be completed very fast. Next. The outer ring road also completed with quite some struggle. The new entrance to Auroville will be this on the south side, soon to be opened. We have applied for permission to remove the highway trees. It's with us any minute now. Then we will open up this road. This will basically take the traffic of the Auroville visitors and Aurovillians away from the tar road, away from Edian Chavadi, and bring it into Auroville. And right now we're also working on manifesting with Visitor Center the 2 security booths which will be replaced from where it is now inside Visitor Center to somewhere along this road. And the other entrance from Edian Chavadi will be permanently closed. There's no access to Auroville from that side. So next. Some buildings which are nearing completion, guest house annex in Swagatam, almost complete. Next. La Petite Épicerie, an initiative of residents, project holders Louis, and almost complete also. We're at the first floor stage. We're actually advanced more than this now. Next. Morning Star, also a labor of love, is finally getting manifested and also advanced more than this now. Morning Star Women's Wellness Center. Next. I think that's it. Thank you.
Next, we call upon
Chandresh.
Okay. So I was asked to talk on one topic today, one. And I was asked to talk on prosperity. How is FAMC handling prosperity? So this, I will come back to this later. I'll go forward and then come back. This is the overview of what we have been working on as FAMC, but I was asked to start with prosperity because that's the topic I was given. So prosperity actually is the center of life of Auroville, which we haven't touched. Like the master plan so far was never touched for a long time. Prosperity has not been touched because when you have prosperity, when people's simple needs are met, communities' needs are met, you have people who are much more in tune, and when they offer themselves as a service, we start to have what Auroville was calling everybody to do. Okay, so we never had prosperity that was envisaged. So now, as our FAMC governing board in the first meeting itself said prosperity has to start. In the last less than 6 months, we've been absolutely said you have to begin prosperity. Okay, so we are looking at a different ways to approach it, from ground up with the BCC to structure the various services that we can offer, and on the other side to see how we can structure it so that when we have we need to be able to plan properly for it, and we need to understand how different services that we offer, we can scale it in the economy, right? So we have this, if you just go to the next slide, please. Next one. One more. No, back, sorry, four. Yeah, so idea was to start with finding out what are the services we can offer, what is happening today, and how much does it cost. And today we have half the population of Auroville on prosperity, on BCC maintenance, and it is parceled out based on different services, and it's fixed, whereas different people need different stuff. So we are trying to understand first the costing of it, because unless you have a costing and you can scale it up, you will not be able to include everybody. So that methods have to be there. And in order to get that, we have structured the thing. Also, other challenges for FAMC is that we have about 800 to 900 people in the system of maintenance today, but only 300 to 400 function. The productivity, the commitment, the requirement to be fully in is lacking. And so that's one of the challenges as FAMC has to face, is how to grow the economy so that the needs of everybody's prosperity that we have identified, that we have, I'm not going to give the details here. We are working on the background to identify how to roll prosperity out, but that requires we need people who are committed, who are working. We also need new people, because just what we have today, 1800, of which only 500-600 who are committed, will not hold the prosperity that we need. For that, we have a planning for the various things, which I will go back in the beginning. And so the basic premise for prosperity for all is willing servitors to divine consciousness, which you all know from our charter. Adherence to Auroville residence criteria. This has been something that the governing board has brought in during the last year and a half. And we have the admission termination also, that was part of the regulation of Foundation Act that has been now put in place. Now we need that people work in productive work full time. And of course, full time doesn't mean that, 8 hours or whatever. It's actually 5 hours a day, every day, if they do, or accordingly. And then we have to see that everybody collaborates in goodwill for progress for all. And right now, last 3 years has been opposite of that. We have seen a lot of resistance, a lot of disenchantment of this Auroville project. And unless we work together as all for one and one for all, it'll be difficult. So go back to previous one, number, yeah. So this I think we all know, that everybody's simple needs are met. Clothing, food, housing, healthcare, those are basic services, but we are also including water, electricity, energy, communication, and housing need. We have 1,700 housing assets, but we don't have a means to maintain these assets. So FAMC has to look at all the assets, our farm assets, our housing assets, our public building assets. So there is a lot of other things that FAMC has to make sure so that the community can operate. Go back to previous one. Yeah, so I'm going to come back to economic development planning that FAMC has taken over last 1 year. We have reviewed the full last 6 years of economic status of all the trusts, all the units, so that now we have a data with which we can do some meaningful analysis, how to improve our economy, how we can plan for growth. And so that analysis has been done, it's underway. And one other thing that you all are now aware is the centralized accounting. That gives us a more immediate understanding of what our current ability to generate cash, how much, what is our burn rate, what are the analytics we can put in so we can plan properly our growth. Okay, so that is Zoho is done. We are also looking for ERP system that helps us become more structured so that we can plan properly if you have to grow and scale. And then basically, we did the oversight as a Maheshwari oversight strategic review. We're also now starting to look at some of the things that has been observed and how to stem the decline. So economy shrinking last one year, there has been such a pushback that, there are, I don't want to go into details, but economy shrinking, and that's going to affect BCs, it's going to affect the services, and if people are not working also, then what happens is the contributions are not there, and as a collective, our economic mobility has got stagnant. I won't read everything. And so then what we are also trying to do is, but moving from seeing what are the blockages, we're trying to say how to move forward and have meetings with the different trusts and units in that, and showcase a few typical areas that people can reflect and work on. And so again, as part of that, we also want to, we are ready to roll out comprehensive prosperity packages and with a certain conditions, how we can work it out. And last one is now forward looking. We want to look at how to consolidate the industrial zone now, because that's very important for economy to be developed. We are looking at CSR as a big campus to refocus for scientific research, because currently it is just a big campus with only one active unit. And then also look at Auroville to bring in accelerators, incubation, startup, skill development, both together, CSR, Auroville, and Oroshilpam, this whole industrial zone. We want to remap it for a proper growth together. And then another area that has been lacking, when you want prosperity, you also need people who can work. Now we have a very aging population in Auroville, right? Now it's been 60 years and all the pioneers that come, they're all aging. So we need to also look at the health sector side. And today, if you look at, go to the next one, and the one after. Last. Yeah. So basically, these are the current gaps in the health sector, because there has been discrete different groups that work on the health areas, but they don't work together. So last about 8 months back, we had 2-3 sessions along with all these people as an FAMC to see how we can come together and offer what would it mean to have an integral wellness campus services. And those people together, they work together to identify the current gaps and see how we can move forward so that we can offer the whole gamut of health services. And so we have set up how we're going to work on it and framework. And we want to offer, we have presented to the governing board also to see if we can now take it forward. And the last one is we are also looking outward looking income generation, in the sense that we have a lot of therapists and people who work in the holistic care and hospitality. So what we are trying to think is look at a wellness campus on the outskirts of Auroville, so that there we can have 20 or 30 acres of a wellness center, whereby like Swaram sound healing can be there. There can be therapy session where people from outside can come, and they can also, there will be other economic activities and social value will be there. And that will act as a gateway for national international collaboration. Now, this is overall what we are working on. As I said, a lot of details are not given, but for prosperity was what I was asked to present. But in prosperity, as I said, is the central nerve. If we do not have good economy, we cannot have a good prosperity. We cannot support everybody's need, social needs. Excuse me, can you just go back to number 2? So, this is we need more people, we need newcomers, we need young people, we need people who are project leads, who are driven to work for Auroville, for the collective, for prosperity, for everybody together. And as FAMC, actually our plate is very large, right? Our oversight role is very, very large. And basically for each of the sector, we have a whole what we need from the project leaders, and we need to really get these different teams together so that each of the sector under FAMC can become productive, and then we can start delivering together what ATDC is starting to build. Okay. Who's next?
Thank you very much. We call upon Orevan from Sire.
Hello. So one of the things we've been working on at Sire for the last year and a half has been to really look at what is the scope of Sire. Because for the last few decades, a lot of work has been going in terms of helping and supporting schools, helping a handful of units. Very good, but what is the scope that Sire was meant to look at? And what we found is just picking up the name itself, Sri Aurobindo International Institute of Educational Research, gives us a lot just there. If we start with Sri Aurobindo and what does he signify in our context, what does he bring us? There's a sense of hope in the future, the sense of a possibility of an evolution, the sense of a complete offering of oneself. So that's where we begin. And the question of why are we doing whatever it is that we're doing at Sire. Next. Sorry? Yeah, sure. Oh. Thank you. Okay. So, Sri Aurobindo, next is International Institute. One of the things that we're trying to work towards is this aspect of transitioning from spaces which are built around, and naturally this is how it has evolved, individuals, strong individuals who have formed, who have put their whole life into something. But then sometimes when that individual moves on, passes on, then there is a gap. And we are facing a kind of generational shift in Auroville at the moment. And what we were trying to do at Sire is to look at how can we look at Sire as an institute. And that doesn't mean a big monster of sorts, but something that goes on living and continues in its direction, in its sense of purpose, regardless of whether I am standing there today or tomorrow it's you. So that's one of the main transitions that we're trying to make and see how we can do that. One of the approaches to that has been to try to formulate, what are we doing? The last large plan for Sire was from 2001. It was done by a visiting committee led by Kirit Joshi at the time, which really proposed a beautiful aspect of a development plan. It was done by a team mostly outside of Auroville. And since then, we have been looking at some of these aspects. But so this has been one of the works to put together a document as a response also to the national education policy of an integral education policy. That's in 3 parts. The first part is the why, the purpose of integral education, its relevance in the world today, in the context of Sri Aurobindo, in our context. The second is looking at the approach to integral education. It's not a system that can be copy-pasted in different parts of the world. It's linked to a context. It's linked to the work on oneself. And the third part, which is the what. What are we going to do here? So the third part is more focused on Auroville, and it's a proposition. It's on the first draft right now. Copies are available at Sire if people are interested. To look at, in the next 10 to 15 years, maybe 20 years, can we have propositions that are wide enough that they can adapt as we go, as we grow, but that there is a sense of clear direction? Because one of the challenges that we have is our aims are so high and so beautiful, and then we say, because we're not there yet, let's do this in the meantime. and that this sometimes takes us in an opposite direction. So we're trying to say, okay, aims are there, so how can we walk backwards to where we are now and take those steps in that direction? So that's the attempt. Linked to that, for the first time, SIRE has a website. It's just started out, and we're going to use it this time. So let's see how that goes towards an institute. Okay, sorry. I pressed too hard. Educational research. That's the next part of it. One of the challenges that we've had in Auroville for a long time is to figure out, okay, what are we doing in terms of education? We've had a lot of ups and downs, like often in Auroville, from utter freedom to suddenly, after a while, a reaction to that, a lot of structure. Now I think we're arriving at the end of that line, and we're saying, okay, but what are we doing and how is it meaningful in this context? So one of the things that we're working on and is an equivalent certificate for Auroville education, which is a recognition for Auroville education, and that's with the Ministry of Education right now. It's based on what the Sri Aurobindo Ashram School has, and it's a proposition to see if that could kind of give a recognition to Auroville education. Another aspect that we're looking at is to see what kind of another type of assessment can we come up with. That is not just sitting like we do often, sitting and passing exams. Could there be something else? And that we've created a framework for that we're running and trying out, which we've called the Triple Challenge Framework. The second part in terms of educational research that's really been an important part in the last year and a half is building up or consolidating the social fabric of the educational environment. We've had a lot of silos, and the push of doing collective events, of coming together in a room, often this room, and discussing tough topics around education, around integral education. What are we here for? How do we go about it? That's been a big one. The last thing at the moment that started just last week is a 6-month research workshop. We have been doing incredible research in Auroville and experiments, but we've not been noting it down. We've not been documenting it enough at all. And so when we're asked tough questions, we say, but we have been doing it. We really have. And it's true, but we have nothing to show for it. So one of the things that we're trying to see at SIRE is how to bridge that gap. So one approach is most of us don't know how to write research. So there's a 6-month research workshop at the moment that's happening. We've got about 40 people in it. Let's see in 6 months. Hopefully we have some things written out. Let's see who survives the workshop. That's one. And the other thing is in terms of documentation, to see if we can create frameworks that then we can reach out to units, to services, to individuals who are doing interesting work to help them document the work that they're doing. As we step out of schooling spaces, the possibility of looking at the structure of schools that we have, can we ooze out into the cultural zone and start to imagine it? And this is something we've been discussing with ATDC as well. Just like we have a clear sense that there is an importance around physical education in Auroville, this has become very anchored. Could we have, in terms of campus, in terms of in the imagination, with the FAMC, in terms of budgets, something for vital education? That space exists in the plans from the 90s. We found that in our archives, both in SIRE and in ATDC. And similarly, something for the development of the mind around the knowledge of Sri Aurobindo. So this is another project that we're looking at, and people are welcome to come and help around with. Current initiatives, because we have 5 minutes and I've run out of time, on our website, we've created a page. It's a hidden page, but if you scan this, you can go to the current initiatives, and hopefully it's something that we can keep updating so that we can keep the community aware of what's happening for those who are interested. Interns, apprentices, volunteers. One of the things we are trying to do, and we've started, is programs for these 3 types at SIRE that bring in a bit more of an integral approach. So we're looking at an aspect of work, an aspect of exploring the raison d'être of Auroville, of Mother and Sri Aurobindo's works, because this is often something that's lacking. An aspect of physical education, an aspect of research, and self-work. So we're doing that in 3 different categories. Our attitude in the last few years, things we all know have been challenging at times from many different corners. And many a time we find ourselves in tough situations. And I think within the office at SIRE, one of the things that has been true time and again, even though we need to remind each other and help each other out sometimes, is this sense of Okay, so that is happening. How do we deal with it in the best possible way? How can we make something meaningful for us at SIRE, for Auroville, out of this situation? And I think this attitude has really helped us grow a lot as individuals and also as SIRE in terms of the possibility of an institute. So thank you very much. Who's next?
Thank you, everyone. We call upon John from Matrimandi team.
Okay, thank you, Auroville. That was very good, very fast, and very clear. I will try to follow through the same. So, hello, everybody. We're not just giving a lake picture, we're giving the whole picture. Okay, so gardens. This year we have opened these two gardens, Wealth Garden in February, and on the bottom right, the beautiful bowls and Bliss Garden redesigned by Oro-san. In Utility Garden, you go in the gardens now on a walk and you see a big lot of action. That's in Utility Garden. You can see the artistic view on the top, and on the bottom, a picture of the action. This we hope to have done complete by, I would say, Judith, February 26, last. Okay, Youth Garden. If you walk around in Youth Garden, you'll see there's a big excavation has been done. This is a drone shot. There's an underground storeroom being built, a drive-in underground storeroom, because we have these ride-on lawnmowers. You can ride it in. Because when the gardens becomes an island, we need to have as much storage space available as possible on the island. So there will be these drive-on machines. There will be a few toilets for everybody, storage space for scaffolding, which we use all the time, things like that. We're going actually to start physically next in the Garden of Harmony. We thought harmony would be a good thing to work on. This is a concept view from the plans of Mark and Mira. Just go back 10 years if you were here. This whole model of the gardens was presented to the governing board and the community of that time, to Dr. Karan Singh, who was here this morning. This was part of it. This is one of them. So this we will jump into soon. You see the big people tree there in the bottom left, that will remain. We put a nice bench around it, and a big circle of harmony in the back part. On the structure, we are working with IIT Chennai on two aspects. The heliostat there on that side is old. It's still working, but we know it's getting old mechanically and from software point of view and drive point of view. IIT Chennai thinks they can come up with a version with no moving parts to produce the sunray in the chamber. So we're working with them on that. It's a contract for another 6 months, and they will set up their demo in Chennai in IIT. If it works, good. If it doesn't work, then we head for the upgrade of this system. We're also working with IIT Chennai on the golden door movement. Those famous golden doors have been there for 25 years, not moving. Now, because of safety concerns, now with IIT and our team, Jean-Jean and Maxime and Antoine and the rest, they're making good progress on the control of these doors. And we hope to have, the motor has been purchased, we hope to have these doors, the one on the north, moving soon. And the other three will follow. Access, there's Judith in a wheelchair. Not because she needs a wheelchair, but that is a stair-climbing wheelchair. And that wheelchair will climb up those steps into the pillar. It works. So that was one of the hurdles for people entering the building. On this side, this is a concept. The other hurdle is the central staircase. This is one option. Maybe yes, maybe no. We're exploring this option. On the software side, somebody else, it was Sire's going to open a website. So we are, within 2 months, hoping to open a Matrimandir website, which will gather all that information about Matrimandir that you find now on auroville.org and in the archives. It will also have a donation portal and a booking portal, and regular updates of the action on this site. We've been working on that for 2 years or so. Oh, I pressed another button. And we're also putting out a new brochure. The lake. So this is the picture on the last day of November, just before the lake wall broke. This is a historical picture. So then on the bottom, that side, the blocks, we've removed all the blocks over the last few months. We've stored them. They will come in useful in future. There you see on the right side the lake bed empty of blocks. And that lake section 2 waiting for lining. In lake section 2 is the corridor for all the power which comes from our solar plant, generator room, TNEB transformer to the amphitheater. So we have laid these set of new cables, a costly set of cables, under the lake bed so that the future power can come safely under the lake bed. That's a work in progress. Lake section 3. So this is why this road diversion has happened. This is a drone shot. You see lake section 3 outlined there. You get the picture? So now that is fenced, and we're driving around it. The atmosphere has totally changed inside lake section 3. From one day to the next, it's a peaceful, quiet, isolating zone that the mother spoke about between the gardens and the city center. So now we have to get into the action there, which is first the electrical service is going to remove the there's a power cable running there from the transformer at Matramandir to the town hall. There are major telephone lines, there's OFC cables, so all that will have to go out, and the road paving will be removed, and we will get on with lake section 3. There's 2 challenges to complete the lake at the moment. One is that the Indian government has brought in a new law about import of materials, not only for lake, but for everything. So the liner for lake section 1 had come from Germany, high quality liner. Now it seems it's no longer possible. Although Michael and Arjun Rohan have made a lot of attempts to see how to do it, it really seems not possible. So they are now sourcing HDPE liner from within India. Some samples have been purchased and sent to testing facilities in the north of India. We will know in a little while whether these materials are suitable for lining the lake. That is one. The second situation is with regard to movement of the earth, which we're working on to get the proper permissions for. TDC, Michael Bonke and team again, secretary are working to arrange the proper permissions to move earth, to excavate and move the earth from the lake. Then, in order to do the lake on the eastern side, it's of course where all our workshops are that have been slowly moved back over the last decades and now sit in the middle of the lake. The laundry for the chamber, the catering, where the workers park their motorbikes, the stockroom. All of that will go into this facility, which is being designed by Sonali and Ganesh already for 5 years. We have a preliminary session gone through with TDC. Now they're very busy with consultants, looking at project managers, coming to the final stage where the final detailed plans can be submitted to TDC for the go-ahead for this project. The site of that is right at the end of the administrative zone, after Sire, after Archives, an empty lot, and then Matramandir is the last structure in the administrative zone. It's quite an interesting project. Opposite to that, on the west, is the reception pavilion, which has been there in Roger's plans since day one, outside the lake. We had a very interesting session during February and March where we called 5 teams of Aurovillian architects who came up with concepts for this facility. And out of that emerged the design of Shalaja and Lalit, which is shown here. It's the end of the line of goodwill, which comes right up to the lake. Integrates that movement. So now they are working out the concept. It lies on land partially not owned yet by Auroville, partially yes. This famous piece opposite the western entrance, recently purchased by Acres for Auroville. So that is going to be detailed and then submitted through the ATDC process, probably after 6 months or so. Connecting that building to the inner shore, wrong one, you need a bridge. This is the last slide, almost. So the lake is about 100 meters wide. We need a bridge for all the pedestrian traffic. This is the route for all the people who come, the visitors, the Aurovillians, come to the Garden of Unity and the Chamber. There will need to be some other way to access the island from the other side, from the service facility, for heavy vehicles, but this is for light vehicles and people walking and golf carts. If we can put the legs of the bridge in the lake on the foundation, we won't need to do this. If we have to jump over the lake, then we need a suspension bridge, which might look like this. This is, we've seen lots of pictures of bridges from all over the world. It's quite fun. This is what Shalaja has come up with in the last few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Now I call upon Mr. Janmajay from Bharat Niwas team.
Yeah. Hello. The biggest challenge when we have assigned for Bharat Niwas, the biggest challenge was to make it self-sustained. But in my last presentation, we have already shown how we became self-sustained. So, yeah, both. So, now we'll elaborate what exactly we are planning as far as the upcoming events, regular classes, and other activities. So we are working with this 6 educational expense, community engagement, culture, digital presentation, and sustainable innovation and infrastructure facilities. So programs on the campus in the different venues in 2023 to 25. Sri Aurobindo Auditorium, 144 programs. Sauchu, 110 programs. Bhumika Hall, 122 programs. Harmony Hall, 102 programs. Progress Hall, 22 programs. And major programs are already mentioned on the slides. Next. Regular classes, previously tango classes and the synthesis of yoga, Kalari classes is already been. Now we are planning for the new classes. Book reading circle meditation program by Debasis, hip hop by Daniel, yoga classes, regular classes by Bala. Bharatnatyam is starting from 23 August regularly. Silambam classes from 22 August regularly. Odissi dance classes from September regularly. Tabla music classes from October regularly. Carnatic vocal classes from November regularly. Apart from that, regular shows will be these 4 items, and upcoming exhibition will be 2. Next. This is the development as far as the pathway concerned. I think pathway is not only a project to self-sustain, but helping each units of Auroville to also generate, economically, and we can say almost 5 to 6 Auroville units. They're, doing their activities through kiosks. Next. And Bharat Kalari, now from 15th August, we are having regular shows. And as far as the class is concerned, it is happening in the morning session. And also we are introducing evening session from 15th August. This is the class. Every Friday and Saturday, there will be a regular show for Aurovillians, visitors, anybody, they can come and they can join for this daily, show. Wildlife gallery also contributing, various way space. Now it is converted to a wildlife art gallery. Next. Thank you. That's.
Good evening. My name is Koshi. I'm a foundation officer looking after the visa matters. Now, before going into the subject visa matters, I will open up the topic like question and answer sessions. In between, I'll answer matters related to the visas, right? Any questions on any matters? All these working groups have given you some topics. Any questions on these subjects can be asked and which will be addressed to the persons concerning the particular working group. Anyone?
Thank you for offering to ask questions. First of all, we had gone through quite a emotional journey seeing Frederick's visa issue, but finally it is resolved. We are so glad. And now, looking forward into the future of Auroville, I feel a phase of harmony and collaboration needs to set in, which means all these restrictions and constraints brought by this kind of external controls would not need to be there. There would be an internal, inborn harmony that will take place. And I'm hoping that even people like Supreme and Mayan will be able to get again back to Auroville. Thank you.
The visas is one tool which is with the host country which decides who should be given the visa. And on your question about Mr. Frederick, what was the narrative of Mr. Frederick's visa issue? Can you give me the answer?
The narrative, as we got to be told, was that he was seen as a figurehead opposing the development. And that's why the people involved in the visa issues in the Auroville Foundation office did not feel like that he should continue living in Auroville. And we had also heard that there were issues found out about his owning private properties outside, which is not against to the visa regulations, which also I believe has been solved.
I had processed a second recommendation letter which was sent during the year 2024. And before that also there was a recommendation letter. Unfortunately, there was a narrative spread that the visa was stopped by Auroville Foundation. It was totally incorrect. It was the decision with the Ministry of Home Affairs, and finally they cleared the visas. So please do not be carried away by false narratives. If there are anything which is related to visas, you can call on the foundation office. I am there to answer it. And let me go on to the subject, so you will get more clarity on visas. Now, Auroville is a place, there are 5 or 6 institutions in India where the government of India was too magnanimous to grant visas for foreigners for continuous stays. And normally, any country, for example, any European country or American country, they have their own visa structure. For example, America, it starts with A and ends with R, or maybe it goes extend up to O or P, right? Now, they've got different subjects and classifications. Likewise, we also, Indian government also has classifications. And X is one visa. It's given to people of Indian origin or married to Indian citizens or certain institutes. Now, there are 5 or 6 institutes where X2 visas are granted or X3 visas are granted. And Auroville Foundation is the only institution which had the privilege of X2 visa granted as a visa policy matter. In 2005, Government of India declared a policy only for Auroville, where a foreigner can get his visa extended continuously every 5 years. But you must be knowing the latest developments all over the world. As a matter of right, no foreigner anywhere in the world can claim as the visa status. America is sending away people even on green cards. What are green cards? We have got permanent resident status. Canada has got, Singapore has got, many other countries has got visa permanent resident status. Likewise, America has got the green card status. Green card status is a permanent resident status. Why people are removed from America when they have permanent residence status? The host country decides whom they should have in their country. If there are deviations on the visa policy, government of any government, for that matter, Government of India has got the every right to stop the visa or take a decision on their particular visa. And let me go on to the next slide, please. Next slide. Since 2021, period-wise, I have given the breakout. For example, there are different classifications. Entry visa, stay visa extensions. First column says, where people have requested for 5 years or 1 year, it was granted as per their request. And the next is, whether it was by entry visa or stay visa extensions, there was some restrictions. You see the percentage. During July 21 to December 21, 100% as requested, it was granted. From January 22 to December 22, out of 661 applications, 615 applications, 93% was granted as per request. And January 23 to December 23, out of 602, 578 applications, that is 96% of applications, were granted as per request. It may be 5 years or 1 year. And from January 24 to December 24, out of 71 cases, 702 cases, that is 97.3%. All the visa requests as per their application, it was granted. And from January 25 to May 25, out of 178 applications, 171 applications, that is 96%, granted as per request. Next. Then June 25, 54 applications, as per request, 100% applications were cleared. And out of total recommendations received, 2585 applications received, 94 applications only were restricted. And you can see the narrative which has gone into the Auroville, like that visas are being stopped. Not even 4%, hardly 3.63% application, only restrictions. And other 3, you named few persons. Their exit permit was granted on certain deviations. As you mentioned, Satprem's name, there was deviation. He was asked to leave by giving him exit permit. It was not leave India notice. And there were 2 persons who were issued leave India notices, male. Again, leave India notices are not issued by the foundation. It is issued by the Government of India through the FRRO. And 1 person who is received the LIN is yet to leave India because he has applied. And the Government of India is processing it. Whether he gets it or not, I am not sure. But it's still under consideration. In such a situation, where is the narrative that visas are being stopped? Maybe there is a delay. The delay is for ascertaining facts, for ascertaining the reasons why there was a deviation on the visa matters. Now, as I told you earlier, green card holders are being removed from their country, USA. And likewise, in India, you cannot claim rightful citizenship or permanent resident status even with OCA status. OCA card is a permanent visa, but people are being removed out of India with OCA status. Why? There is a deviation. So the Government of India has got every reason to decide whether the foreigner should stay in India or not, based on the visa criteria. So as a matter of right, no citizen, no foreigner can claim that visa is their right. If there is a deviation, every government has got the right to take action. I am an officer from the FRRO. I have worked in the Bureau of Immigration for almost 20 years. I know every document, every application which is processed is based on evidence. If there is deviation, now I'll tell you this fact also. We are also screening our own Aurovillians who have deviated, who have violated the visa conditions. We have received messages from FRR's office. The process is with FRR office. If they take action, it is based on evidence. If we process some papers, if there are delay, it is again based on evidence. And there is reason. And there is no narrative. If at all there is a narrative that visas are being stopped, it is totally false. No, it's not a matter of clapping. I'm just explaining the facts. Any more clarifications required? Please do not be carried away by false narratives. If you got any doubt, any questions, we are there. Yes, ma'am.
These deviations, are they known? Is there a list of what is allowed and what is not allowed? Because now there is this idea, like if I would object, or if I would be like, if somebody would if somebody would say, you are obstructing the city. Because I would say, no, I'm not obstructing the city. I would like to have a more collective way how to build the city. Could that be a deviation? Because that is the idea now. If I open my mouth, I might lose my visa.
No. What's your name? Sonia. Sonia Madam has got a very, very valid question. She wants to know what are the deviations. You just go have a look at this particular slide. This is a visa sticker for Aurovillian X visa. There you will find 2 endorsements. To join Auroville Foundation, duration, it is mentioned, and not valid for prohibited, restricted, etc., etc. And there, work, again, there is another endorsement which says work, business, employment is not allowed. If there is deviation on any condition of this X visa, it is a violation. Likewise, Auroville has got a charter. This Auroville charter is one basic procedural policy on which the X visa policy was framed. So, any deviation in the charter of Auroville is also considered as a violation of visas. So, if you say there is an obstruction, it is per se, it may not be obstruction as you think. But if there is stoppage of work, if the work which has been permitted by the Government of India is stopped, Government of India has the rightful decision to take a decision, whether it is correct or not. Auroville Foundation cannot act, but the Government of India acts.
Normally people in Auroville also, sometimes they're putting against a letter to become something like that. You will see a long time in Auroville. The diplomatic of foundation also, you can look at people, not find out what is doing. They can give a little bit letter to the government of India, no? You can have the possibilities.
Tell me one case where there is such.
No, I don't have a clean find outing person. I'm just guessing, I'm explaining myself, not any two things.
What is your name?
I'm Auroville.
Okay, good. Now the question is, should there be a little bit of sensibility while deciding on such matters? Definitely there is sensibility. That is why all the visas are granted with restrictions, even then where we found violations. Whereas 97% of visas are granted as per request. No, less than 3% of visas with restriction granted. No visas are stopped. Maybe there is a delay. Then where is the question of stopping it? Why there should be a diplomacy? We are doing it. The Government of India is doing it. There is no deviation, requirement for any diplomacy from the foundation side. Foundation office is doing it. More than foundation office, Government of India is doing their work.
Thank you. Thank you, Koshiji. It was very reassuring. And thanks for countering all the negative narratives that is being put on purpose. It's not very naive like our friend here is trying to make it out as. Having said that, now that you are working with foundation, you're not merely representing foundation, I believe. I mean, representing the Ministry of Home Ministry, I believe. So in that case, I am glad that you are saying it is not related, all the visa matters are not related to Auroville Foundation. Thank you. That's a full stop. However, last 4 years of all the turmoil and the disturbance caused purposefully indicates that not everything is hunky-dory. And perhaps there needs to be sometime a little bit of a slap on the wrist which is required. Now, what you are saying perhaps would be construed by some as almost apologetic, which I do not want it to go across like that you have almost like a green flag to do anything and everything under the banner of Auroville Foundation. So you are saying if they're not doing any business and if they're not violating the visa, well and good. And if they are adhering to the Auroville Charter, well and good. But that's a very wide canvas. And there are so many things which can be devious under those banners itself. And that's where Auroville Foundation needs to play its rightful role under the guise of Register of Residence, that even if you are Indian, and there are many Indians also in this grouping against Auroville, who need to be little bit put under scanner. And that means you need to see, once you are updating or while you are updating, who is contributing to Auroville and who is in Auroville for purposes not intended in the first place. Is Auroville a place for do your activism, for nature, for climate, for your other social aspects? I believe it is not. So I think it is very important that you put out a word of caution also as Auroville Foundation, not as Home Ministry's distant representative, but as the Auroville Foundation, that Auroville needs to be on its pathway and we as Aurovillians need to be on that path. Otherwise, perhaps we need to choose other paths. Thank you.
No, he's got a point, but this is not the forum to tell that. It will be decided by the foundation office when it is needed.
Anyone else?
Anything? Any other questions? If no other questions are there, shall we conclude? Thank you once again, and we are really happy that on this very proud and auspicious occasions, you have joined us. Thanks a lot. Once again.